The brain is indeed the most impressive part of the body. It controls everything in the body, from tiny things to the most important ones. When it comes to diet, most individuals believe the only important thing that has been impacted by diet are weight loss, fitness, heart health, and longevity. But what we consume influences us more than these. The foods you intake every day directly affects your brain. It is significantly essential to nourish it with healthy fuel to maintain its best function throughout the day. Stick around to the end because we are going to be sharing with you the top 10 worst foods for your brain. Before we continue with the list, make sure to subscribe to Healthy Lab and turn on the notification bell to help us grow. Every subscriber is much appreciated. So, let's start. 10. Junk food. These types of food give you a high amount of energy but not healthy nutrients. And as we have a rewarding system that hardwired us to engage in behaviors we find pleasurable, like eating tasty food. In our brains, when we eat processed or junk foods, the brain gets high. So, the reward circuits activate and release the chemical dopamine. This is the same way that an addict develops a tolerance to drugs. So, our brains seek out and want rewarding foods, making us crave sweet and fatty foods. When we say junk foods are unhealthy, we are not just talking about the number of calories. We are talking about the high amount of sugar and fat, which are two primary components of hurting the brain. These two cause inflammation in brain cells and neurons. Imagine the way your mouth or your skin becomes inflamed in allergic reactions. The same happens to your brain when you eat processed and junk foods. 9. Sugar. If you need your brain to function 100%, stop overeating in sugar. Your brain highly depends on your blood sugar levels because glucose is normally the main fuel for the brain. As we told you earlier, sugar causes inflammation in your nerve cells and will impact brain function. While too much sugar does not directly damage your brain, it produces high insulin levels. Insulin influences the access of several amino acids to your brain and blocks the transport of most amino acids, except a substance named tryptophan. This chemical passes the blood-brain barrier and gets converted into serotonin and melatonin, the sleep hormones. In this way, sugary foods can put you in a carb coma. 8. Refined carbs. Refined carbs quickly raise your blood sugar levels, reducing your brain function and impacting your memory. Also, refined carbs' glycemic index is often very high, meaning they digest very fast, boosting blood sugar and insulin levels. In addition, when eaten in large quantities, these meals make a high glycemic load in your body. Glycemic load shows how much food raises blood sugar levels per serving. Individuals who consume a lot of fat and refined sugar have poorer memory. The memory influence may be because of inflammation of your hippocampus. Inflammation is also a risk factor for degenerative brain diseases like Alzheimer's. Foods including vegetables, legumes, fruits, and whole grains are instances of low GI carbs, which are great for the brain. 7. Excessive alcohol. Alcohol can be a pleasant accompaniment to dinner when drunk in moderation. But excessive intake might negatively impact the brain, causing brain shrinkage and metabolic abnormalities. Alcohol also impairs short-term memory by reducing the communication between nerves in the hippocampus. The hippocampus has a vital function in memory formation and maintenance. Chronic alcohol abuse interrupts neurotransmitters, which are substances used by the brain to communicate. Additionally, vitamin B1 deficiency is widespread in chronic drinkers. Vitamin B1 is a necessary vitamin that is excellent for memory. Its deficiency can lead to a brain problem such as Wernicke's encephalopathy, which can develop into Korsakoff syndrome. This disorder can cause brain injury, including blackout, disorientation, vision abnormalities, and instability. 6. Aspartame. It is a white, odorless powdered sweetener that is about 210 times sweeter than white sugar. It is also used in numerous foods and drinks that aren't intended for patients with diabetes. Aspartame is a famous choice when decreasing weight or avoiding sweets if you have diabetes. When eaten excessively, it can impact the brain's ability to utilize serotonin, influencing learning and emotions negatively. One study indicated that individuals who ate diets very high in aspartame were more irritable, had a higher rate of stress and depression, and performed poorly on mental and brain tests. Aspartame is also a stressor. It contains phenylalanine that could pass the blood-brain barrier, destroying neurotransmitter synthesis that makes the brain more vulnerable to oxidative stress and poor function. 5. White rice. Intaking white rice may boost your chance of Alzheimer's disease, particularly in individuals who may be genetically prone. The brain requires a steady supply of glucose to function better. When the body breaks down carbs, it produces sugar and sends it into the bloodstream. The brain utilizes this sugar as fuel to power its neurons, which are cells that transmit information throughout all body parts. Some foods produce sugar more quickly than others, like high glycemic index foods. Low glycemic index foods, including most fruits and veggies, release their sugar slowly. Intaking a diet high in low glycemic index foods has been proven to promote memory function. Having a diet high in high GI foods can cause memory loss or even a lapse in memory altogether. 4. Trans fats. Trans fats harm the brain because they slow it down. They are also an essential contributor to heart problems and obesity and are the main cause of high cholesterol. They also influence your reflexes, not to mention an elevated risk of stroke. Trans fats found naturally in animal products like meat and dairy do not have a significant health risk. However, industrial-generated trans fats, mostly known as hydrogenated vegetable oils, are a problem. Trans fats, when consumed too much for too long, can impact your brain differently and negatively. They can make a type of cerebrovascular constriction comparable to the shrinking caused by Alzheimer's disease. The brain shrinks due to trans fat slowly damaging the arteries. You can lower your chance of stroke by eliminating your trans fat consumption. Artificial trans fats are mostly found in foods like a snack, margarine, icing, pre-packaged cookies, and ready-made cakes. 3. Processed meat. Those who consume highly processed meats, like sausages, cured meats, and pâté, have a higher chance of dementia, according to a study published in Neurology in April 2020. Dementia is a word related to a group of signs impacting a person's cognitive abilities and functions. It mainly affects their capacity to think, recall, and reason, which worsens with time. Although the above research couldn't establish cause and effect, multiple studies indicate that intaking highly processed proteins isolate your central nervous system, boosting the chance of developing a degenerative brain disease such as Alzheimer's. In contrast, natural proteins found in foods like eggs or beans are the building blocks of muscles, and consuming more of such proteins helps your body to function appropriately. Beans are an amazing source of protein and are saturated fat-free, magnesium, B vitamins, and other brain-boosting compounds. 2. Margarine. These foods, along with many packaged snack foods, are very high in trans fats. You might know that trans fats aren't healthy for your heart and blood vessels, but it doesn't end here. Studies have found that they can also wreak havoc on brain function. A review from the journal Neurology revealed that older people who had elevated levels of L-itic acid in their blood were the most likely to get dementia. Today the butter versus margarine issue is really widespread, but the fact is that it's a false one. The older stick kinds of margarine turned out to be really worse for your overall health than butter. Some of the newer kinds of margarine claim to be low in saturated fat, rich in unsaturated fat, and free of trans fats are fine as long as you don't overeat. 1. Swordfish. Most health experts and dietitians are big fans of fatty fish, but the type of fish they love is salmon and others that include a healthy fat named omega-3 fatty acids. Swordfish, tuna, and other big fish lose points due to their tendency to be high in mercury. That's a neurotoxin substance, meaning it is toxic to your brain and can lead to a higher chance of memory loss and poorer thinking skills and abilities in older adults and seniors. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.